Okay, let's get started on our prints that are supposed to be inspired by the background of Kehinde Wiley's artwork. So in order to make the prints, what you're gonna need is one piece of paper. I have another piece of paper for the portraits we're gonna do a little bit later. One piece of paper. You're gonna need some markers, some washable markers, a pencil, one styrofoam plate, or it can be a styrofoam bowl or a styrofoam cup or anything styrofoam you have. We want to be able to make a mark in it. You're going to need just a tiny bit of water and a paper towel. That's what we're going to be using for today to make our prints. So I'm going to take you step by step on how to make your print. First things first, I'm going to show you some other prints that I've made. So here is a print of a flower with a leaf and some designs, some swirlies. You can have whatever you would like on your print. Remember, Kehinde Wiley often made his prints very personal to the person who's in the portrait. So whoever you're gonna paint in your, whoever you're gonna draw in your self-portrait, or maybe you wanna draw a picture of somebody else, maybe you wanna make the print about them. So what we're going to do is make our print on our plate, and it'll end up being on the background to our paper. So there's one example. Here's another example of a flower with two feathers, and that print came out like this. So they come out backwards, keep that in mind. And this one's one of my favorites actually. And it came out like this. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on our print. Like I said, you can have flowers, you can have leaves, you can have different designs, you can make it, some people did butterflies in the Empower Hour. I'm going to go ahead and just make a leaf. I really like the leaf shape. And I'm gonna break it apart into two. Okay. And let me think, something else I can put on my print. Maybe I'll have like a vine or something with little leaves so I can have a lot of color in my print. I think I'll just keep it this half of the plate. Maybe I'll make one more leaf this way. So I'm just using my pencil and I'm pressing into the plate to make a little bumpiness, so that way when I add the color, I know where I added the color to my designs. So maybe you chose to draw about something you like. Maybe you made a football design. What else could you have done? Really anything. You could use texture, lines, shapes, anything we've learned so far. So now that I kind of like my design, I think I'll leave it. Maybe I'll add a little heart. Maybe I'll add one over here too. Okay, so once I have my design and I like it, I'm gonna go ahead and add some color to it. And I'll show you what happens next. So what's going to happen is the color that you put on the plate is eventually going to end up on your paper. And it's going to be a print. And the reason it's called a print is because you can make the same image printed on the piece of paper more than once. So you will have created a print or done printmaking once you finish this. So I'm coloring each one different colors. Maybe I'll make my hearts red. And I'm just using a regular washable marker. You can use whatever you have. Let's see if I can make a pattern. You can be drawing your design as I'm working, or you can just be watching. I'll tell you when I get to the tricky part. All right, just a couple more colors. I would like it to be colorful. I'm gonna do brown. Okay, so once you've colored in your design, whatever you chose to do, maybe I think I'll use green to make my vine. Now comes the tricky part where you need to really, really pay attention. So, in order to get our print from our plate onto our paper, we're going to need our paper towel, and we're just going to get it a little bit wet. And if you just want to go run over to the sink and get it a little bit wet, that's fine. You don't want it dripping water, but you want a good amount of water on there. And now what you're going to do is you're going to be turning your plate over. But if you want to get the marker color to stick on the paper to make our print. So what you want to do is get your paper a little bit wet. So I'm not going to get it sopping wet. I'm just going to add some water. I'm going to take the print and I'm going to press it down onto the paper. I don't want to move it around. I just want to push straight down. And what's going to happen is the marker will have transferred to your paper. Cool. So there's our first print. This is going to be the background of my portrait. So similar to Kehinde Wiley's artwork, we're gonna have designs in the background. And your design, remember, it can be something about your culture. It could be anything you want. It could be something about you. Okay, and I'm gonna keep going, but I'm gonna show you one more time how to do this. So now that I've made my print, if you wanna do it again, you can't just put water and flip it over because the marker is almost all gone from the plate. So you have to go back through with the marker and you have to add the color again. So I'm gonna go color by color. I'm gonna do one more and then I'll go into super speed. I want you to be able to see what it looks like. So I'm re-adding my color. And I said it before, but we are making a print. So this is very cool. All right, got my orange done. Let's do my hearts. So again, you can be creating your print on your styrofoam. If you don't have a styrofoam plate, that's okay. You can just go ahead and create your background however you'd like. It is totally fine if you don't have a styrofoam plate to just create your design however you would like in the background. You might want to consider using repeated shapes because that was something Kehinde Wiley did, and we can be inspired by him and the repeated shapes or patterns or designs. All right, one more color. Okay, and now when I go to do my next print, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to tap a little bit, get a little bit of water on there. I'm going to wet my paper where I'm going to put the print. I'm just going to get it a little bit wet. You want to make sure it's total, there's water on all the spaces so that that marker transfers. And then what you're going to do is turn your plate over onto, you got to kind of line it up, and I'm going to make my next print. So press and whoop, ta-da! So I have my first two prints. I'm going to go ahead and keep using this and fill up the background in super speed. You guys can go ahead and start creating your prints. Okay, so I have finished my print. I printed it 6 times, and when it got close to the bottom, I just put a scrap piece of paper underneath so that way I wouldn't get it on my table. And now what you can do is you can go ahead and take a marker, or I didn't use black actually, so let me go through and you can just add other things that you wanted to add. Maybe I want to add a little star on top of all of them. You can see here my paper got a little bit too wet, so if you're having trouble with your design being blurry, just like I was, it means that maybe you added just a little too much water to your paper. That's okay. I still think it looks really nice. Maybe I'll add, I like those stars. I'm gonna add a couple more. So for those of you who didn't have styrofoam plates, you can be doing just this. You can add any designs you want, maybe some symbols, maybe some words or letters, or I don't know, anything you'd like, really. We wanna try and get those really bright, vibrant backgrounds that we were seeing in Kehinde Wiley's artwork. So I'm just going to keep it consistent with the pattern, I'll make a mark by every single star. Okay, and as soon as we love our, go this way. As soon as you love your background and you feel like it's really vibrant, meaning nice and bright and colorful, then we are ready to start our portrait, and you'll meet me at the next video. Actually, I'll link the videos, so it'll go right into our portrait. We'll get our other paper, start our portraits. Our backgrounds are done. Okay, for this next part, I'm gonna walk you through a self-portrait or a picture of yourself. If you wanted to get a little mirror or do this somewhere where you could look in a mirror so you could see what you look like, that's okay. If not, you can just draw along with me. I'm gonna take you step by step through drawing a self-portrait. So the first thing you want to do is just draw. I'm going to use a pencil and I'm going to draw really lightly, and then at the end I'm going to erase all these lines I'm going to put on my paper. So you just want to go ahead and draw an oval. So an oval, and it's okay if it's not perfect, you can go around again. An oval is kind of like you took something that's a circle and you squished it. So we're going to squish it this way. That's going to be the start of our face. And now you might think, Miss Armstrong, what are you talking about? But I'm gonna ask you to very lightly draw a line right across the middle of your oval this way, horizontal, and one right down the middle vertically. And these are going to be our guidelines. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and add our eyes. They're going to be in between these two lines here. Is going to be one eye. You're going to again draw a little oval. It's not perfect, but that's okay. And then you're going to imagine there's another little oval here, and you're going to draw an oval on this side too. Okay, not perfect, that's okay. You don't want to get crazy with the erasing. Once you have your ovals, we are going to add a circle inside of our ovals. These are going to be our irises. So now you can see, maybe I'll just add a little pointier. I'm gonna add an iris on this side. Perfect. So you can see that the eyes, there's space in between them, about the same distance as if there was another eye. Okay, and then inside the iris, you're going to draw another small circle. This is going to be the pupil of your eye. I'm gonna do that in both eyes. You can color that in nice and dark. My eyes are looking really different, but that's okay. All right, and next we are going to, and I bet you're thinking, Miss Armstrong, the eyes are not in the center of the head, but actually your eyes are in the center of your head. If you held your fingers up on your own face, from your nose, the top of your nose, or in between your eyes to your forehead, and in between your eyes to your chin, your fingers will be the same size. So you can check that on your own face. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to draw a line in between this line and this line. So right about in the middle here, I'm just going to draw another line, another guideline. And that's going to be the bottom of our nose. And you can either feel your nose with your hand, or you can look in the mirror to see what your nose looks like. Miss Armstrong's going to, I'm going to post up some examples of different noses, different eyes, different mouths, different kinds of facial features that you can choose from. You might want to, so this will be the bottom of the nose. You might want to add some nostrils. You might want to add something up top. You're going to have to go ahead and look. And then this is going to be the top of our nose going up. Okay, so now we have our nose. We even add some nostrils down here. Perfect. Next, we're going to do the mouth, and the mouth will be the halfway point between this line and this line. So again, you can go ahead and draw a guideline. And you can, let's say you wanted to do a smile, that works. Or if you wanted to add some more definition to the lips, you can add a little divot, because if you feel on the top of your top lip, there's a little divot, and then go up and around, and then add your bottom lip. You can do that. That's one way. I'm going to go ahead and make this come down just a little bit more. And you might not get it right on the first try, and that is okay. And if you wanted to, you could just make it a crazy face too. If we're being inspired by Kehinde Wiley, we want to make sure we put powerful poses or a strong stance, strong eye gaze in our figure. So now we've finished the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. And I'm going to tell you the coolest part about drawing a portrait. It's something you might not know. If you go ahead and take your fingers and just touch on your face the side of your eyes, I'm going to do that. And then go ahead and feel directly next to your eyes. You're going to feel the top of your ear. So your ear starts right where your eye is, and you're just going to draw a backward C. And over on this side, you're going to draw a regular capital C. That's where your ears go. One ear's bigger than the other. That's all right. And you can just draw kind of like a swirly shape in here. That's fine. I like to make designs. Okay, so our face is looking pretty good. The last thing we need to add is our hair. So the one mistake people make, or something you think you might do, is just add hair on top of your head. But that's gonna make you look a little bit silly. So I'm gonna think about my hair. If I was drawing a picture of me, my hair is a little bit wavy and it's parted on the side. So you wanna make your hair come down in front. Maybe if you have short hair, you wanna add little marks or something. Maybe if you have long hair, it comes in front of your ear, to the side, up and around. Maybe your hair goes straight back. Maybe you have braids. You have to look in the mirror to see what your hair looks like. If your hair is really short too, even though it's short, it's going to come down right by your ear. So maybe it's coming this way. Maybe your hair is like your shoulder length, something like that. So whatever your hair looks like, you can go ahead and add that in. If you wanted to, you could add that with crayon, color pencil, marker. I put them all out because you can use whatever you'd like. Again, I'm going to put different samples of noses, mouths, different kinds of eyes. Maybe they even have ears. I'll put pictures that I find to help you maybe decide which one looks the most like your eyes, ears, nose, mouth. And again, you don't have to draw yourself if you don't want to. That's fine. I'm gonna add just a little bit more here. So this turned into curly hair. And then I'm gonna go into super speed and just go ahead and add some color to my person. Oh, one thing I forgot actually. My chin was here. And then when you're going to add the shoulders of your person, you're gonna do the kind of like the ears were, C. You're gonna do a backwards C, or a backwards, kind of a backwards C there, and a regular C here. And those are your shoulders. So maybe your person's wearing a shirt, something, I don't know. You can choose whatever you'd like. So we're thinking back to those images that we saw of Kehinde Wiley's artwork, and you're going to try and get inspired by those powerful poses of the portraits. So however that comes to you, go ahead and put that in your drawing. If you need to go back, press pause and watch the video again of how to make a self-portrait, that's totally fine. I'm gonna go into super speed and color my portrait, and then I'm gonna show you how to put our artwork together. Before I go into super speed, I forgot one thing on our face. What did I forget? I forgot eyebrows. So where that line crosses, right above your eyes, so where the nose comes up on the side is where your eyebrows are going to start. So they will go this way. Maybe you can just draw little hairs to make your eyebrows. And the same thing on this side. Again, you can look in the mirror if you wanted to see what your eyebrows look like. Okay, and now I'm actually going to go through and I'm going to erase these guidelines, and I drew them really lightly, so hopefully they erase pretty easily. And I will go ahead and add some color to my drawing. Okay, I'm going to go into super speed and do that. Okay, now that I have finished my portrait, mine is not a self-portrait, this is not me, but I wanted to create an artwork that I thought was beautiful and that I was inspired by Kehinde Wiley to create. So I hope whatever portrait you decided to do, you really love, and maybe you just decided to do designs. If you didn't make a portrait, you could always find a picture of yourself. Make sure before you cut into it, like I'm going to, that you ask a parent for permission. You could always find a picture in a magazine to put on top of your background. The next step to this project is once you have finished your portrait, you are going to carefully cut around the portrait, and you might be inspired to do something a little bit different than me, but I was inspired to create a portrait and cut it out. So, especially my second and third and fourth graders, so especially my fourth graders who have been working on shading for a long time. If you are working with your colored pencils, I hope you guys are practicing your shading. My second graders are kind of new to that too, but you can be practicing. And as soon as you love your portrait, you're going to cut it out just like this. And we are going to put them on our backgrounds. So my portrait came out so big you can barely see my background, so maybe I actually want to glue it down just a little bit, and maybe I still have my print. I can make some more and attach it down here. So what we're going to do is you can use some glue to attach your portrait to your print. I'm going to do that now. And I have my artwork inspired by Kehinde Wiley. So I have the beautiful backgrounds that I was inspired to create by him and the portrait. So there's my artwork. I love it. I will take a picture and post this on Google Classroom. If you wanted to do something a little bit different, that's totally fine. Just make sure you practice creating your prints. And I would like it if you'd practice the self-portrait. So those are the two things we are working on today, creating our print or printmaking and working on a self-portrait. So however you want to go ahead and do that, if you want to attach it in a different way, that's totally fine. I cannot wait to see what you guys created. Make sure that you take a picture of your artwork and submit it to Google Classroom. See you next time.